Light is something you don't always think about in video games, and yet it's one of the core ways that developers can train your eye. Light shows us where to go, it highlights important objects, and it can create an atmosphere in simple and striking ways. So it's sort of nice to see light taking center stage in Where Shadows Slumber. It's a game that uses light as its central mechanic, making you figuratively and literally look at its digital world in new ways. After a brief introduction, the game gives you a special lantern, then tasks you with trying to get through a series of obstacles. The light from the lantern changes these objects in different ways, and you need to work out how to create bridges where there are none. Things are a bit trial and error to begin with, but you soon get to grips with what the game is asking of you. The light from the lantern moves as you move, and interacts with objects like pillars to cast shadows, so figuring out where you need to stand to change the world is a part of the challenge. But that's not all. The game isn't afraid to add new things into the mix at regular intervals. There are switches that you need to push, other characters that you'll need to avoid, and objects that you need to move multiple times to get the shadows just right. The controls are dead simple. You tap to move and push and swipe on the screen to play about with the pieces of scenery which you can manipulate. There are plenty of clever false eureka moments here, where you think you've solved a puzzle, only to realise you need to take another step to finish it. All the levels take no more than 5 minutes to complete, which means you can finish a couple of them in no time at all. You'll always feel like you're moving in the right direction as well, and you want to see what the game is going to throw at you next. But the puzzles build on each other as well, so things you've learned earlier in the game come into play later, and then twist around so you need to rethink the way you originally used them. It's a really smart game for the most part, although there are a few frustrating sections when it's going to take you a little bit too long to figure out what you're doing. Also, we're not wild on the character designs, though the art is clean and makes it easy to read the landscape. It's also surprisingly bleak in places, which we approved of. There's a lot going on in Where Shadows Slumber, from the dark story to the intelligent puzzling. It's got a few issues, but you'll easily breeze past them and then forget they ever happened. It fits into the same genre as Monument Valley, but runs off in its own direction. It mixes light and darkness in some smart and incredibly engaging ways. And for that reason, we reckon it's worth a try.